Hey guys, welcome to Tabletop Warbands. Today we continue the campaign with two new kill teams in the 4th episode. If you haven't seen the other episodes, I recommend you to see those first. You can find them in the recommended videos. Today, Tau Empire faces the Genestealers. I'm Simone and I'll play the Tau.
Hi, I'm Andrea and I'll play the Genestealers. Before we started, if you are subscribed to the channel, welcome back. If you are not subscribed yet and want to help us, join our growing community now by clicking on the subscribe button. And don't forget to activate the bell so you don't miss the next battle reports. Thank you guys!
There are far more forces at play on the planet Hesperia than those known to the Imperials. The Tau prepare to cross the lines of defense of the Astra, putting in place a diversion to reduce the enemy forces in defense. A surprise awaits them though. The Astra Militarum are actually units of the Genestealers. Today's mission is Saboteurs. The two armies will have to deploy within these two areas. In this game, there are no objectives, but a building that the Tau will have to blow up and the Genestealers will have to defend. In this match, it will be the central bunker. Tau within 1 inch of the building will be able to perform the action Plant Explosives. Based on the number of explosive charges placed, the Tau will earn a set number of victory points.
Genestealers, on the other hand, will win victory points by preventing the Tau from placing explosives. The fewer explosives placed, the more points the defender will be able to earn. Also, due to the diversion created by the Tau, half of the kill team of the Genestealers will start off the battlefield, returning to defend in the rounds after the first. The player with the most victory points is the winner. The game will last 4 turns. Both armies start with 2 common points, earning 1 point at the start of each round.
A Tau kill team is preparing to infiltrate Imperial territory on the planet Hesperia. They were given no instructions as to why it was necessary, but the importance of the success of the operation was made clear. Several fake attacks have been carried out along the entire Imperial defensive line, in order to hide the true point of entry of the kill team. Judging by the small number of defenders, the diversion appears to have been successful. The team is ready to act. The Tau kill team is made up of 12 Pathfinder operatives. The leader is a Shasui armed with Pulse Carbine. The other team members are a communication specialist and a transspectral interference to take care of communications, an assault grenadier and a blooded pathfinder to form the front line, and a medical technician to deal with the wounded. 2 weapon experts, one with a ray rifle and one with an ion rifle, a marksman to protect the team from above, and finally a drone controller with a MB3 recon drone and an MV4 shield drone. The Spec Op chosen for this kill team, the first mission they will have to follow during the campaign, is Recover Archaeotech, the first operation of which is to complete 5 games where they scored victory points from the TAC Op, Seize Ground or Vantage. The kill teams start the campaign with 4 requisition points to use in upgrades. I spent 1 point on equipment drop, assigning Melta charges to the Assault Grenadier, Medic and Shasui, and climbing equipment to Blooded and Marksman. Then I spent another acquisition point on asset acquired, and chose tactical uplink to expand my base of operation. This will allow me to use a tactical ploy without spending any CPs once per turn.
A team of Genestealers cult has managed to take possession of Akkadian military site along the Imperial defense line, so as to be able to infiltrate deeper without attracting too much attention. There is only one problem. On the radio, they talk about attacks on the whole line by unknown forces. Tower here! We cannot afford to lose this newly conquered position. Recall the others, we're under attack. My kill team is formed by 12 operatives. The leader is a neophyte leader called Eric. He's equipped with autogun and power pick. Immediately after him, there are 2 cult agent operatives. The first one is Locus, also known as Jake. The second agent is Sanctus Talon, known as Michael. Both agents are very strong in melee, so I'll need to keep them safe. Then there are 2 heavy gunners, Jason armed with a heavy stabber and Amos equipped with a seismic cannon. Next in line we have 2 more gunners, Frank with his flamer and Richard armed with a grenade launcher. The next member of the kill team is Henry, the icon bearer, equipped with autogun. Last but not least we have 4 neophyte brood adepts, Tom, Bob, Sam and Noah, all equipped with autogun. As Spec Op I chose the faction one, Clandestine Warfare. Its first operation requires me to complete 5 games in which I scored victory points from the faction's TAC Ops. With 4 acquisition points at disposal, I spent 1 point on asset acquired and chose tactical uplink, just like Simone. Then I spent 2 more points on equipment drop, giving an emergency box to the operatives that are not deployed on the battlefield in the first turn to help and join the others in the second turning point. Then I gave the cult talisman to both the heavy gunners and a cult knife to Richard, the gunner.
I deployed the Tau in order to cover as much field as possible and take advantage of my initial numerical superiority. On the right flank, the Shasui, the Comms and the 2 Pathfinders with silent weapons are in cover of the nearest bunker. The shield drone accompanies them. In the center there are the Assault Grenadier and the Transspectral Interference. The Recon drone is positioned further ahead thanks to the ability of the drone controller, and finally the left flank, where the heavy weapons are positioned together with the medic and the drone controller.
I have only 6 models to deploy, so I decided to place every operative near the bunker to defend. Considering the faction ability Cult Ambush that allows me to change the order given to my operatives in the first turning point, I decided to give the conceal order to every model. I have deployed Locust inside the bunker and the Heavy Stabber on top of the site. Meanwhile, these guys are deployed outside the battlefield. To join the others, I'll need to roll a 4+ in the strategy phase of the second turning point, or they'll join automatically in the third turning point.
It's time to do the scouting phase. Each of us chooses a number of dice equal to the corresponding number of the choice. 1 for Fortify, 2 for Infiltrate and 3 for Recon. Red dice for the Genestealers and blue dice for the Tau. I chose Recon while Andrea chose Fortify.
The defender starts the scouting phase first, so I place the barrier here.
The Blooded Pathfinder moves 3 inches towards the bunker to stay under cover. In the first round, my Shasui uses the ability Art of War and selects the option that allows all operatives with engage order to perform a free dash action during their activation.
In the strategy phase, I spend 1 command point for the strategic ploy One with the Shadows, until the end of the turning point, when determining line of sight from an enemy operative to a friendly operative. If my model has the conceal order, light terrain is obscuring.
Reisa, the marksman, uses movement and dash to move over the bunker with the help of climbing equipment.
Jason changes his order to engage and targets the enemy medic, shooting 5 shots at 4+, hitting with 2 critical and 2 normal hits. Wow!
3 dice at 5+ to save him. Well, I guess not. Apparently, the medic won't heal anyone in this game.
In order not to leave him without cover, I use the free command point of this turn for the tactical ploys Link into Darkness, which allows me to change the order of an operative from engage to conceal.
Noel Dahl, the Blooded, follows the example of the marksman, and thanks to the climb beam equipment, he also uses the movement to climb the bunker. Then, when he reaches the top, he identifies the enemy with the flamer and shoots him 4 shots at 3+. Okay, that's a good roll!
3 defense dice at 5+, I highly doubt he will survive. Exactly. And then, there were only 5 on the battlefield. It's up to Bob, but having no targets inside, he decides to pass his turn. Thanks to the group activation too, I can also activate another adept. So Tom changes his order in engage, and then moves in order to have the Blooded inside. Then shoots him 4 shots at 4. Thanks to the Cult Ambush ability, I can reroll all the dice of a number of my choice, so I reroll the 2. Better than before.
No penetration, so 3 dice at 4+. I use my free command point to reroll a dice. Okay, he's safe. The Shasui moves forward towards the bunker, then he spots an enemy and shoots him with his carbine 4 shots at 3+. Today the gods of dice seem to favor me.
Tom is in cover, so he saves 1 dice automatically. 2 dice on 5. The critical and 1 normal are saved, but with 4 damage each normal hit, Tom is doomed to abandon us. 4 models left. Jake, the Locust, sees the enemy leader expose himself and decides to try to eliminate him. He changes his order in engage, and thanks to movement and dash, he leaves the bunker and slips into the other bunker 3 inches from the Tau leader. Then, with his barbed tail, he makes 4 attacks at 3+. Reroll the 2 thanks to the Cult Ambush. Of course, 2 normal hits, and that's it.
Being in cover, 1 of the dice automatically saves. With the other 2, I need 5+. Nope. 1 hit passes and inflicts 3 wounds on Nasue. 5 wounds left to the leader. With the leader just injured, the drone realizes it's late and runs towards the Tau to protect him.
Just like Bob, Eric the leader also decides to pass the turn.
Yantel, the comms, moves to cover with movement and dash.
Jake, thanks to the Overwatch, tries again to take out the Shasui, making 4 more shots at 4. A critical and a normal hit.
This time, the drone is nearby and throws itself in front of the leader to protect him and take the shots for him. 3 dice at 4+. Only 1 dice is successful. This drone, thanks to the ability Shield Generator, can try to ignore the wound suffered with a 5+. But not in this case. 3 wounds suffered by the drone. It's time for one of my favorite models. Savu, the Assault Grenadier, uses movement and the free dash to get inside of the Locust, then throws a fusion grenade at him. One of the many grenades he has. 4 shots at 3+. 3 successful, including a critical.
Obviously, you can't help but roll crits. Invulnerability at 4+. Not even 1. And that, my friends, is how the Locust leaves the battlefield too.
Naseu uses movement and dash to advance across the battlefield to a less exposed position. The drone controller gathers his gear and follows his friend close to the metal fence. Anna May reaches the recon drone behind the barrier and prepares to fire in the next turn. BBQ, with movement and dash, crosses the crater and reaches the place with his handbags. Nodiel is the only one left in the center of the battlefield and moves towards the barrier for more cover. The first round is over and I must say it was truly excellent. The dice rolls were pretty good this time and I managed to make 3 deaths. Half of the models in the battlefield of the Genestealers have been eliminated. I also managed to take out the Locus, which is one of the most dangerous models Andrea has at his disposal. But I need to stay focused. In the next round, the cult reinforcements will arrive and I have the difficult task of having to reach the bunker and place the explosive charges. Even if the Tau are in numerical superiority, it will not be easy, since I will have to expose myself a lot to be able to carry out the actions.
Clearly not a good start. Maybe it would have been better for me to keep the Locus hidden, but if he had managed to survive until the next round, he would have created panic among the ranks of the Tau. Now, I have to hope that some of the operatives outside the battlefield join the fight, otherwise I will end up with a defenseless bunker ready to be demolished, and the game would be over. Second round.
Rolling for initiative.
I guess initiative is mine.
It's okay, I'll give you that.
In the strategy phase, I roll to see which operatives enter the battlefield. They are all equipped with emergency Vox except the Talon, so they all join with 3+, while Michael enters at 4+. Starting with Sam. 3, he's in! Now it's up to Richard. 2, that is not enough. Next one. Noah also remains on the bench. The Icon Bearer. 6, good job Henry. The Heavy Gunner. Amos also remains off the battlefield. And the last one, the Talon. Nothing to do. Another 2. Both Sam and Harry can be deployed entirely within my drop zone and entirely within 3 inches of the edge of the battlefield, and they position themselves in cover with Conceal Order. Then I spend a command point for the strategic ploy one with the Shadows, giving further protection to my operatives.
I use instead the strategic ploy Bonded for a command point, which allows Pathfinders to reroll a dice to hit if they are within 3 inches of a friendly model during a shooting action.
In the Reveal Target step, I reveal the faction stack up marked for Assassination. The neophytes of my kill team can mark the enemies. By eliminating a marked enemy, I gain 1 victory point.
In this phase, I reveal the Tacope Vantage. My operatives will be able to carry out this action on vantage points that are not already secured, and earn victory points.
The first operative to activate is Sam, who changes his order in Engage and targets the Blooded above the building, firing 4 shots at 4. Rerolling the 3. 3 hit.
The Blooded saves on 4+. Not bad! 1 shot passes. With 5 injuries remaining, Noel Dahl is still on top form.
Then, with the second action, he runs for cover behind the bunker. The second to be activated thanks to the group activation is Bob, who charges the recon drone and performs the TAC-op action marked for Assassination. Then, thanks to the leader's ability, I can use the tactical ploys Link into Darkness for free, so I change Bob's order to Conceal.
Noel Dahl activates and descends from the bunker to position himself so as to be able to see the enemy leader, who, due to the strategic ploy used by Andrea, was hidden from his view despite the vantage point. Then he takes aim. Before shooting, however, I reveal the TAC-op Mark Target. In case it manages to inflict a wound on the Genestealer, the model loses no wounds, but I gain 1 victory point. 4 shots at 3. Ah, not a good roll. Rerolling the one with the free command point. And 1 again! It's a classic!
Eric saves with 3 dice at 5. Yes, he's safe! After dodging the shots of the Blooded, Eric changes his order in Engage and targets the Ion Rifle, firing 4 shots at 3. And brutally hits with 2 critical and 2 normal.
1 dice automatically saves. I need 5+ with the other 2 dice. Yeah, only 1. This means that both criticals made by Andrea pass. 6 total wounds to the Tau, who remains with only 1 wound and is injured.
With the second action, Eric climbs the bunker and takes cover.
Naseu is suffering from his injuries, but he has a duty that he cannot fail to fulfill, so he decides to take revenge. I try to do the TAC-op Mark Target again, this time hoping to succeed. 5 shots at 5+ due to the injury. Ha! A critical and a normal hit!
With -1 penetration and being in cover, Eric can only save 1 dice at 5+, letting the critical hit through. Thankfully, he doesn't take any wounds.
I finally earned my victory point! Bravo Naseu! With the little energy left, the Tau charges the Genestealer in front of him.
It's Harry's turn, who from the bunker window can see the Tau behind the barrier and shoots him with his autogun 4 shots at 4. Rerolling the dice in a balance, and rerolling the 3. All hit with a crit 2! Good job!
2 dice at 5+, and 1 for the cover. Ha! Critical save! Only 4 wounds pass and Nodiel is injured. With his personal ability, the Transpectral Interference takes an APL off the Icon Bearer. Then, with the little movement he has left, he moves forward.
Jason only has 1 action available. To best use it, he changes his order to engage and then fires 5 shots at 4 on the ray rifle, rerolling the 1 for the weapons rule and the 3 for the cult ambush, resulting in 3 normal hits.
2 dice at 5+ and cover. Oh, look at that! Double 6! He hit well, it would seem. Alnamei waits for the shots against him to hand, then as soon as he hears the silence, he stands up and charges the Genestealer in front of him. I would need to kill him, but it will be difficult with only 3 attacks. However, having 2 allies in combat to support him, the weapon expert can make 3 attacks at 3. Oh my! This is the second double 6 this Tau makes in a row!
Bob responds with 3 attacks on 4, and only hits 1. Normal.
When starting the fight, Alnamei deals damage with the normal attack.
With nothing else to do, Bob also deals damage with his normal hit.
With the remaining 2 critical attacks, the Tau knocks out the opponent. Match won by KO.
All sore, Bob abandons his companions. First overwatch of the round. Jason targets the only Tau he can see, the drone controller, and fires 5 shots at 5 due to the overwatch. Hitting 2.
2 dice at 5+. Ah, nothing. Luckily he has at least the cover, so only 3 wounds go through. All in all, I'm fine with it. 4 wounds remained. Finsonil moves inside the crater, then with the remaining action, uses his ability Control Drone on the Recon. This allows me to activate the drone of my choice immediately after him, and also gives the drone the ability to perform mission actions, which he normally could not do. BBQ receives the commands of the drone controller and goes over the defensive post to then head towards the bunker and place the first explosive charge. I will need many more of them.
Eric is the second operative to shoot Overwatch, and he also targets the drone controller, making 4 shots at 4. Hitting 3.
7 at 5+. 2 more wounds lost. Finsonil is in a bad shape. He would need the medic. Who knows where he is? Yantel, the comms, also moves over the bunker. Then, with the second action, he gives an APL to the marksman.
The Icon Bearer fires Overwatch and targets the Tau in front of him, shooting 4 shots at 5. Just 1.
7 at 5 again. Triple 3! Useless though. 2 wounds received, but he's still alive, with only 1 wound left. Reisa performs the action of the Tacope Vantage, earning 1 victory point. Then, thanks to the additional APL given to him by the comms, he shoots the Heavy Stabber on the roof of the other bunker with his silent weapon. 4 shots at 3. Ah! Beautiful roll. Only 2.
-1 penetration, so Jason saves with 1 dice automatically for the cover and 1 on 5+. 4 is not enough, so he suffers 3 wounds. The last Overwatch of this round, Sam also targets the Tau in front of him, firing 4 shots at 5, missing them all.
Savu moves near the gap between the barrier and the metal fence, then targets the Genestealer on the bunker. 4 shots at 4 with the carbine. Wow, okay, this shot is even worse than the one before. Only 1.
Being in cover, Jason automatically saves the shot.
Nasue enters the bunker and takes shelter from prying eyes. Great place, mate. Don't worry, no one sees you there. Evie goes through the bunker from side to side using movement and dash and comes close to the second bunker in a great position for the next round.
This round was much better than the first. Yes, I only have 4 operatives alive, but the Tau are not in good shape either, and now 4 more Genestealers will join the battle. Simone managed to damage my bunker with that goddamn drone, but that's okay, I still have a huge advantage. If I manage to take the initiative next round, it would be even better.
The Genestealers are starting to arrive. In the next turn they will all enter on the battlefield. I have several models close enough to the bunker to place the explosive charges, but it will all depend on who has the initiative in the next round and how Andrea decides to move his models. This is the most delicate moment of the game, as I will have to concentrate on placing the explosive charges while Andrea can shoot me and charge me with everything he has. In the next round I can win the game or go home defeated. Rolling for initiative. Well, these Tau are the masters of the initiative, it seems. Yet,
Me first again. In the strategy phase, every operative that was not deployed yet joins the battle. This time, however, I can deploy them entirely within 3 inches of each edge of the battlefield. So Amos, Richard and Michael stand in defense of the bunker, while Noah gets behind the barrier in Simone's drop zone, all with conceal order. Then I spend 2 command points total for these strategic ploys, one with the shadows and crossfire.
For my Tau, I use the strategic ploy Take Cover for a command point. If the Tau are targeted with a shooting attack and are in cover, they have a +1 to save.
In the reveal target step, I reveal the attack up behind the enemy lines. If at the end of the turn I have a model entirely within the enemy drop zone, I gain a victory point. The first operative to activate is Michael, who charges the 2 Tau in front of him. Arriving in combat, he uses his Familiar Soul Sight ability for 1 APL, thus giving his weapon the brutal and balanced rules, then fights with the Ray Rifle, delivering 4 attacks at 2. Well, I would say he hit.
It's useless for me to roll the dice since it's definitely dead, but I roll anyway. It's fun.
Okay, I'll start the fight. Ciao!
Poor guy, it didn't end too well for him. The drone controller activates his ability and chooses the shield drone, which will activate after him and will be able to perform mission actions. Then Phil Sunil targets the enemy leader and tries to earn a victory point from the TACOP marked target. 4 shots at 5 due to the injury. And despite the injuries, he manages to make a nice shot.
Ouch! 2 dice at 5 and 1 that defends automatically thanks to the cover. No! If only he didn't crit. Well, at least Eric does not suffer any wounds.
Evie, the shield drone, activates and places the second explosive charge on the bunker. Then it moves back in order to take cover and at the same time protect the nearby Tau.
It's up to Amos, who changes his order in engage and then dashes, arriving 6 inches from the enemy leader. Then he takes aim and fires 4 shots at 3. Hitting all shots! But I want more crits, so I reroll the 3. 6! 2 crits and 2 normal hits.
Well, what can I say? You're doing some crazy dice rolls too today. There is nothing I can do to save Nasue. Yeah, you hit really well. Good job.
Then, thanks to the free command point, I use the tactical ploy Slink into Darkness to hide the heavy gunner from enemies.
Nodiel is injured but has enough movement to get next to the bunker and place an explosive charge. With this, there are 3.
Jason uses the dash to reposition himself and have the blooded inside. Then, fires 5 shots at 4. Hitting 3 of them, including a crit. Nice!
3 dice at 4+ to save him. There we go! He dodged them all! Matrix style, probably.
Obviously. If nothing else, Jason manages to mark him thanks to deploy Crossfire.
Sabu, the Assault Grenadier, realizes that the time is right for a quick run in Forest Gump style and moves under the bunker to place another explosive charge. Thanks to the item Melt a Charge I gave him, his explosive charge deals 2 damage points instead of 1, so I'm at 5 points in total.
Richard sees the recon near the bunker and decides to gift him a crack grenade, then detonates it, making 4 attacks at 4. Hitting him deep in the circuits.
With -1 penetration, I only have 2 dice to roll on a 4+, and the situation doesn't look good. Exactly. Make room, a pile of debris is passing!
And with this fantastic elimination, Richard gains 1 victory point for the TACOP marked for assassination.
Yantel gives the marksman an additional APL and then drops off the roof of the bunker to position himself near the trees.
It's Sam's turn, and he also approaches the blooded and tries to take him out, firing 4 shots at 4. Why am I rolling 3 dice? Damn, I forgot 1. If nothing else, I managed to hit 2.
Well, it's too late now, isn't it? 3 dice at 4 to save him. And literally 3 dice at 4! This guy is too strong!
Yeah. Meanwhile, Noah sits down and enjoys the video from afar, safe behind the barrier.
The marksman Reisa shoots the Chin Stealer with the heavy stabber, making 4 shots at 3. Ah, okay, great. Somehow I have to balance the result of the blooded Pathfinder dice.
Harry decides to charge both Tau in front of the bunker. Then, with his second action, he makes the mark for assassination on the most wounded enemy.
Feeling invincible, Noel Dahl moves and focuses the seismic cannon, firing 4 shots at him at 3. Here it is, my favorite model. He's doing a massacre.
Yeah, 3 defense dice at 5. Nothing to do. Amos is also escorted off the battlefield. Eric decides to leave the bunker and charges the marked Tau, then fights him and unleashes 4 attacks on 3. Eliminating the enemy mercilessly and earning the second victory point of the TACOP marked for assassination.
Naseo cannot fight or he would die, and at the same time he needs to block the enemy in combat, so he passes the turn.
With 5 damage to the bunker, Simone would take 8 victory points and I would take 4, which would make it impossible for me to win even by completing all the attack ops. But the campaign says that we still have to play all rounds. So we continue to play, but in order not to lengthen the video too much, we quickly show you what happened in the 4th round.
The initiative this time was won by the Tau. Thanks to the tactical ploy reposition, the Assault Grenadier is able to get away from the fight and launch a fusion grenade on the leader of the Genestealers. Needless to say that of him remains just a puff of smoke.
The 2 adepts are activated, one of which passes and the other charges the Blooded. Then, after some well-aimed hits, the Blooded is eliminated from the battlefield.
It was a difficult loss. He's the model that has made the most of all. The drone controller fires on the heavy stabber above the bunker and despite the injury manages to kill him. He hit a 5+ and this is the result of the roll. Crazy. Then he moves alongside the drone.
The Icon Bearer tries to avenge the leader by shooting the Assault Grenadier but fails to hit him.
The comms performs the action of the TACOP plant signal beacon, earning another 2 victory points.
Michael the Sanctus Talon fights with the Iron Rifle, eliminating him smoothly and earning me 2 victory points for the TAC-OP Rob and Ransack.
The Marksman fires on the Neophyte who killed the Blooded in an attempt to avenge him, and eliminates it. Justice is done.
The Gunner, armed with the grenade launcher, moves forward and fires a frag grenade at the shield drone, eliminating both him and the drone controller. And with this, the game ended with a score of 13 victory points for the Tau and 10 for the Genestealers.
It was a particularly interesting game. The dynamics of the mission made every movement of the models important, especially for Andrea who found himself playing with only 6 models against 12 in the first round. My luck is that I was able to eliminate the Locust before he could do substantial damage to my operatives. The fact that Andrea was unable to get more than 2 models on the battlefield in the second round was the coup de grace that allowed me to reach the bunker with a lot of models. This time the Tau are the winners and have the opportunity to infiltrate the Imperial territory.
Unfortunately for this game, I didn't have much luck with the dice. Although this mission greatly favored the attacker, I managed to keep up with the Tau despite the fact that in the second round, only 2 out of 6 operatives passed the test to enter the battlefield. This put me even more in difficulty. In any case, it was a very close match and my Genestealers performed well. Speaking of Genestealers, they have now been discovered and this attack forces them to act quickly and activate their plans ahead of schedule.
At the end of the game, each operative who has been eliminated must take a casualty test to see if he's dead or has suffered battle scars. A d6 is rolled. On a 2+, the test passes. With 1, the operative suffers a battle scar, and with a second one, the operative is dead. Starting with the Tau, most of the operatives are safe and can return to fight in the next game. Unfortunately, this is not the case for 2 members of the kill team. The first roll a 1 in the test is the drone controller. Rolling the second dice, its battle scar is severe concussion. This means that he will suffer a -1 to the ballistic skill. All in all, I can accept this. But the bad news doesn't stop there. The second model that made 1 is the Blooded, the hero of this game. But the terrible thing is that rolling the second dice resulted in another 1. I'm sorry to announce that Noel Dahl is dead, and will have to be replaced. Goodbye. It was a short but intense meeting. May we meet again.
My Genestealers proceed to take the test as well, but fortunately, they all live with only the shame of having lost against the Tau and suffer no battle scars. I was very afraid that the Locust and the Heavy Gunners would fail the test, but luckily, they succeeded. At least that. In no time, my Genestealers are ready to fight again, and they start planning for the next match, hoping that the outcome of the next game will be different from this.
One more thing before the end. You will have the option to decide the name of the Tau kill team. If you want to have the possibility to name it, write your suggestion in the comments. We will choose the names we like the most and we'll do a community poll so that you can choose between them the final name of the kill team. And with this, we conclude. If you like our content and want to help us grow the channel, we have an account on the platform Buy Me a Coffee where you can support us with donations. Any help you can give us to improve the channel is welcome. We are counting on you. The link is in the description.
And if you have come this far, write the word KABOOM in the comments to let us know. You are the best! And if you are not yet subscribed, subscribe to the channel. If you liked the video, leave a like and write us in the comments. We are always curious to know what you think.
That's it, guys!
See you next video!